was represented with the altar on the middle, and you have 365 days, which is a Maya sun calendar. But 365 days on a sun cycle, and it has 19 months. Why 19 months? Well, they were 18 months with 20 days each, and only uno with 5 days. A little month with 5 days named Guayep. So 5 days to do nothing but fiesta. You know what fiesta means? Parties, ritos, wedding ceremonies for 5 days. So there's 18 months with 20 days each. And 18 times 20 makes 360. Plus a little month with 5, and you have 365 days on a Maya sun calendar. So we're going to talk more about the calendars, but once we get to La Plaza. If you want to have a quick picture right here, you can do it. Por favor, please, just watch your steps right here because it's very, very rocky, okay? And then we go to La Plaza. The last hurricane, very, very bad, was 2005, so also that's why most of the trees are just fallen. All right, everybody, this way. Who's the last one? The last one is we buy chocolate margaritas for everybody. So I'm getting thirsty, right? Familia, this is La Plaza. This is the main square. This is the place where Maya people perform rituals, weddings, ceremonies. Even this place was used as a little market by seasons to trade. Maya people had no currency, but chocolate, sometimes it was used as a currency. For example, with 3 cacao beans, you can have a fish, an egg, an avocado. With 20, you can have a rabbit. With 300, you can have a turkey. But if you were from the high-class people, and if you want to have a new wife or a new husband, only if you were on the high-class people, you were allowed to buy a new wife or a new husband. So you will need 4,000 cacao beans to do that. With 4,000 cacao beans, you can have a new wife or husband, only if you were on the high-class people. If not, I'm sorry, but no. All right? According with the Mayas, hot chocolate, they made them get in touch with the gods and goddess. So that's why only high-class people were allowed to drink hot chocolate on the weddings, ritual ceremonies, even on the funerals. So when I say Maya chocolate, I'm talking about pure chocolate. That means no sugar, and that means no milk. I'm talking about cacao beans mixed with vanilla and cinnamon, hot water. But Maya people used to add a special ingredient to the chocolate, human blood. Human blood. According with them, human blood, that's, was the ingredient to make them get in touch with the gods and goddess. So, because blood, makes the connection for them in between they and the gods and goddess, all right? So that's why it was only a drink on the weddings, rituals, and even on the funerals. And it was only for the high-class people. So, I'm very sorry, but today we're not going to give you real Maya chocolate. Because we are going to skip the human blood. So I think that you are going to be agree with me, right? So we're going to taste chocolate, all right? Right in the middle, we have the altar. We have very, very narrow steps, and if you count them, you have again 7 narrow steps facing straight to the east. First of all, because of the sun rises, but the most important reason is because if we walk from the altar all the way to the east, we will get to Chichaná, which was the fertility and purification temple. So the señoritas that survived from those rituals, from the Tartar, they just walk straight to the Chichaná all the way to La Plaza. It was time to get married, right? Groom and high priests were waiting on the top of the altar, and well, for sure, this place was for everybody, for the big fiestas and for the big rituals. Under the big tiki hut, there are 2 buildings. There's a big temple on your left-hand side, and there's a small temple on your right-hand side. Big temple for the moon, small temple for the sun. Why? Maya people came here all the way to Cozumel to worship the full moon goddess. So she deserves the biggest temple on the island. And as I mentioned, there is nothing really spectacular to see, but that's the biggest, and it was for her. But sun and moon were a couple. That's why we have both buildings together right over there. At the very corner, we have El Palacio, the palace where King lives and his family, and they were the only family allowed to have a house here in the plaza or here in the main square. The columns that you can see over there, they have no meaning. They were only to support the roof. They were in between 3 to 5 feet taller than the ones that we can see right now. Because of erosion, time, weather, unfortunately, that's what we got. By this corner, we can see the temple for visitors. High priests, kings, queens, and their families, so they came from any place in the Yucatan Peninsula, so that temple was for them. That's why it's the only temple on the plaza that it has a little stone altar on the entrance. If somebody wants to come asking for something, maybe rain, food, or something like that, first of all, they need to put an offer, and then they climb and ask. All the different offerings, but not human offerings or human sacrifices on this island. You know why? They came here all the way to Cozumel looking for life or fertility. That's why any kind of sacrifice on this place. They came looking for life. That's why nada, no sacrifices. And the last building on the plaza will be the one on my left-hand side, where you're able to see a little platform with round columns. Maya people, as I mentioned, use the round column to represent the sun and the moon. Why we have 5.5? Actually, they were 7. 7 round columns right over there to represent warriors. For the Mayas, warriors were sacred because Maya people were peaceful people. There were 7 warriors to take care of 400 people living on the city and more than 8,000 people living on the island. So that means that Mayas were peaceful people. Okay, that's why warriors were considered for sure sacred, right? Questions so far?
How did the kings become kings or whatever?
Well, you need to born on the family, just like royalty nowadays.
Okay.
Just like royalty. If you born on the family,
Right.
you can become a king or a queen. But if
Okay.
not, I'm sorry, no. Okie dokie. Now, all the way to the Kumkum month. Those are the 18 months with 20 days each. And there's only uno with 5 days, which is the one that you can see right in here where my finger is pointing, and it's named Wayeb. On our calendar, it goes in from the 5th to the 10th of August, okay? But that's Wayeb month. Only 5 days for fiesta. So right here we have 360 days in total. That's the sun calendar. If we talk about the moon, was round, small, and a sacred. It's just right here in my book. Round, small, and sacred. Symbols are round, similar as the sun calendar, but we have only 13. 13 symbols to represent 13 months and 13 full moons along the sun calendar. And this is the miracle familia. 13 months with 20 days each. So if we multiply 13 times 20, that makes 260 days. 260 days on our calendar, which is the Gregorian calendar, that makes 40 weeks. Do you know what happened on 40 weeks? You have a baby. Gestation, that's why I said it is a miracle. For the Mayas, moon calendar, it was considered cycle of life. 260 days, 40 weeks, gestation, let's do easy. 9 months on the Gregorian calendar. Now, did you hear something about the last December 21st, 2012? Maya people predict the end of the world. What happened?
Nothing.
Nada, here we are. As I mentioned, round calendar, so that means time has no beginning and time has no end. But what did the Maya people predict back in the 2012? For the Mayas, sun and moon were a couple. Do you remember that? So as a couple, they work together. So we have 2 calendars, both of them are round, so they spin together pretty much like this. Because we have a big and a small calendar, it took a long time in between both calendars not to end, but to match, to line up, and to start over again. December 21st, 2012, after a big cycle with 5,128 sun cycles, which means years, the sun and the moon calendars, they just match. They just line up and they start over again. So December 21st, 2012, it was the end of a big cycle named Bactun with more than 5,000 years, but also the beginning of a new one. Round calendars, time has no beginning and time has no end. And that's how the world for the Mayas works. That's why they make round calendars. The round shape, no beginning and no end. So now, who predicts the end of the world? You have any idea? Nostradamus? I say media. Hollywood, with those movies back in 2012.
Yeah.
Maya people for sure, they never predict the end of the world. What happened to the Mayas? Are they extinct? Gracias. Perfecto. There are several theories about that. We have several theories about that, right? Some of them are true, some of them not. The most accepted one, it says that during the conquest, when the Spaniards arrived, Mayas and Spaniards, they start to mix it. Since that, we are not pure Mayas. I'm sorry. We are the cenote or the whale. And Itza is the name of a dynasty. The real name was Itzais.
Okay.
Itzais. But Itza is the name of a dynasty. So the mouth from the cenote of the Itzais, the mouth of the whale of the Itzais. That's what means.
okay.
That's what means Chichen Itza.
Okay.
It's similar. Chichen is very similar to Chichan,
Yeah.
but Chichan in this case means small or little.
Okay, that's what I
So,
was.
yeah, see,
Okay, I just
see.
I didn't think it was small.
No, no, no. Would be Nicaragua.
Wow, that's
They
so
were
amazing.
great. They were great navigators. That's why we have two temples at the very points of the island. One on the north, one on the south. They use them as lighthouses. See,
That's so really far.
very far, señorita. Really far from here. And even nowadays, lost people with GPS and everything, they get lost in the ocean. Just imagine back in the past. How many people they lost in the ocean.
Yeah.